But it gets to a point where she breaks down.
The topic of oysters?
No, the topic of just her conversations that have been happening about her body falsely accusing her of different things.
She having an shot.
Yeah, in episodes leading up to this, I will say that there's been other things that have been happening where K. Michelle thinks that Porsha is taking shots but hiding her hand type of thing. So she says she doesn't feel safe. Let's take a listen to K. Michelle on not feeling safe.
It looks like things between Porsha Williams and K. Michelle were never really over, because just when it seemed like the apology had settled everything, insiders say the real tension was only getting started, and now what's coming out is raising some serious questions.
Oh, God. Okay. Y'all can sit here and say you care about people when y'all be sitting there plotting and trying to do stuff to people. If I know that a mother is sitting there plotting my hurt, I'm not gonna smile in your face. I know exactly the whole plot.
Last night after we left dinner, someone called me and said that there was a plot and a plan this whole time from some of the...
Now here's where things start getting complicated. Because according to reports, Porsha Williams initially made it seem like everything between her and Kay, Michelle, had already been resolved. There was an apology, there was communication, and for a moment, it looked like the situation had been handled. But insiders say that was only on the surface. Because shortly after that apology, subtle tensions started to show. Indirect comments, quiet reactions, and a noticeable shift in energy.
K. Michelle tweeted just about somebody being a coward, and Porsha responded back. So K. Michelle said, "Don't sit in my face and play like you..."
And then it escalated. Because instead of keeping things private, the situation slowly started playing out in real time.
Don't know what I'm talking about. You want a reaction so you can have it. Say it to my face or be a quiet coward. Porsha says, "Who is a coward? I would define a coward as a person tweeting from the same house. 2 doors down from me. Next time, let's do our job and bring it to the front door real..."
At that point, it was clear. This wasn't just a misunderstanding anymore. Sources suggest that what looked like closure may have actually been the beginning of something deeper. And behind the scenes, there were already conversations happening, questions being raised, and lines quietly being drawn. Because once tension moves from private conversations to public reactions, it rarely goes back. And now, what started as a simple apology is starting to look like something much bigger. But what really has people paying attention now is how far back this situation might actually go. Because according to sources, this wasn't something that just started overnight. There were already underlying tensions, moments where things didn't fully add up, interactions that, at the time, seemed small, but now feel different in hindsight. And insiders say, the apology itself may not have landed the way it was intended. Because while Porsha Williams appeared to approach the situation with openness, not everyone involved was ready to receive it that way.
I think that's another situation where someone has decided that this is the route they need to take. I don't think this is the route that K. Michelle needs to take or has to take. I think it's the wrong road. But at the end of the day, if you have been watching...
That moment, according to reports, reflects a bigger issue. Because sources claim there were already perceptions forming behind the scenes. People choosing sides, alliances quietly building, and narratives starting to take shape before everything even played out publicly. At the same time, Michelle was allegedly dealing with her own frustrations. Not just about what was said, but about how it was said, and how it might have come across in front of cameras. And that's where things start to get layered. Because now it's not just about one comment or one misunderstanding. It becomes about intent. It becomes about perception. And more importantly, it becomes about trust. Sources suggest that from that point on, every interaction carried more weight. Every joke, every reaction, every conversation was being viewed through a different lens. And when that shift happens, even the smallest moment can feel calculated. Even neutral situations can feel personal. And that's how situations like this escalate. Not always through one big moment, but through a series of smaller moments that slowly build up. Until suddenly, what looked like a resolved issue starts to feel unresolved again. And by the time people realize what's happening, the narrative has already moved forward without them. And then, everything started to unravel. Because this is where the situation takes a much darker turn. Up until this point, it could still be explained as tension, miscommunication, maybe even reality TV drama playing itself out. But according to sources, that's not what this was anymore. Because this is where the allegations begin. Allegedly, Michelle started hinting at something far more serious behind the scenes. Not directly, not clearly, but enough for people to start connecting the dots. And insiders claim those hints weren't random. They were intentional. Because suddenly, the narrative shifted from simple conflict to something much more personal.
2, to talk about a rumor that a disgruntled ex said 8 years ago. I already know who you've contacted, what blogs you've called. To go read that and want to spread that, I think
That moment, according to reports, opened the door to a completely different conversation. Because now, past rumors were being pulled back into the spotlight. Things that had been buried or ignored were suddenly being referenced again. And once that happens, it doesn't stay contained. It spreads. And that's exactly what insiders say happened next. Because alongside those hints, there were also quiet claims being made. Claims that suggested this situation might involve more than just words exchanged on a show. Allegedly, there were suggestions of a deeper connection, a secret night, and even speculation about something being recorded. Now again, nothing has been officially confirmed. But the fact that these conversations are even happening is what changed everything. Because now, this isn't just about what was said on camera. It's about what might have happened off camera. And that's where things start to escalate fast. Because according to sources, this wasn't just seen as drama. It was seen as betrayal. The idea that someone could present one image publicly, while allegedly doing something completely different privately, is what pushed this situation over the edge. And that's when the reactions began. At first, subtle. Small comments, indirect responses. But then, they got louder. More direct. More impossible to ignore.
How does it make you feel?
So when I watched K. Michelle go, when I watched Michelle, her punishment was too hard for what she called the crime, I said, okay. I picked up my phone and I texted her. Because that's how I am. Ask Candy, ask anybody, ask Sheree. If you do, I'm gonna text right away as I'm watching the show. And I said, hey, I just want you to know I'm watching.
That moment, according to reports, reflects something deeper. Because this isn't just about defending a narrative anymore. It's about trying to hold control in a situation that's quickly slipping. And at the same time, Michelle appears to be standing firm in her position, not backing down, not softening the tone, which only adds more weight to the situation.
The misconception. But with this, because I think sometimes it's like we don't know what's real and what's not. So producers are like throwing in this storyline, throwing in this joke. If that did happen and because all of that was in the news, I don't even know if I would even touch that, especially if I'm...
And that's where things become emotional. Because now, it's not just about what happened. It's about how it feels. Sources say frustration has started to turn into something heavier. Pressure turning into exhaustion. And control slowly turning into reaction. Because when multiple narratives hit at once, personal, public, and emotional, it becomes harder to separate them. And that's when people begin to read everything differently. A comment feels sharper. A response feels defensive. A moment feels bigger than it actually is. And that's exactly what viewers are starting to pick up on. Not just the drama, but the shift. From composed to reactive to overwhelmed. And that's where the conversation starts to change. Because now people aren't just asking what happened. They're asking, how much of this is getting to her? And whether this is still under control, or already past that point. And now, the fallout is becoming impossible to ignore. Because at this stage, it's no longer just about what was said or what allegedly happened. It's about perception, and how quickly that perception is shifting around Porsha Williams. According to sources, the situation is starting to affect more than just the moment. It's impacting image, reputation, and how every move is being interpreted moving forward. Because once a narrative like this takes hold, it doesn't just disappear. It lingers, and it reshapes everything around it.
Okay. I felt bad watching K. Michelle break down the way she did on this episode,
I felt bad. That makes more sense now.
That moment, insiders say, highlights a deeper issue. Because when someone feels like they're not being understood, or worse, not being given the benefit of the doubt, it creates distance. And in situations like this, distance turns into division. Now people aren't just watching the story unfold. They're choosing sides. Supporters, critics, observers, all forming opinions in real time. And that's where the real damage happens. Not always from confirmed facts, but from how those facts are perceived. Because in the middle of all this, clarity is still missing. And until that changes, every assumption, every reaction, only pushes the situation further. And right now, it's clear this isn't settling down. If anything, it's leaving a lasting mark that won't be easy to shake. And the truth is, we still don't have the full picture. Because if even part of what's being suggested is real, then this situation isn't over. It's only getting deeper. And right now, no one really knows where it ends.